Hello, my name's Ron Geesin and I'm an Anglo-Dutch artist and I make music, films and other stuff.
Hi, Don.
Hello, Alexa.
So great to meet you.
And thank you very much for your invitation.
Thank you so much for receiving us. Like, you explode creativity everywhere. Music, film, sculpture. If I ask you, how do you describe yourself? What is your job title?
I'm an Anglo-Dutch artist and I make music, films and sculpture. Both my parents are artists. I don't think I could have done anything else. My father was notorious, I think, in the 60s and the 70s. I certainly grew up in a culturally privileged environment. I was informed, I was exposed to strange stuff early on, but then it wasn't really strange because it's just normal.
You grow up in this environment with your father collaborating with Pink Floyd and all the amazing stuff he did in his career. So I believe you were surrounded by music. Made it impossible for you to be anything else in life, like astronaut or an engineer, for example?
I didn't aspire to be a musician. I really arrived at music through looking for ways of creating narratives without interfaces. So that's kind of how I started with telling simple stories with music. My father's 78 collection of mostly black jazz, I mean, it's quite specific about that, it's quite specialist. Yeah, I certainly grew up with that, but I also grew up with John Cage and jazz, the sort of jazz that most people wouldn't associate with jazz. For example, mento, ska, jug blowing, things that were just absurd. My dad is certainly not rock and roll, absolutely not. He has a spanner collection that's unsurpassed anywhere in the world. Something that I rediscovered later was Music from the Body. Music from the Body is, for me, a fantastic and seminal record where from 1970, when Roger Waters was writing his first songs, kind of ballads or melancholic singer-songwriter stuff on the guitar, and my dad was doing very strange electronic tape loops, banging on his stomach, on pots and pans, shitting, farting, and putting this all into creating weird and wonderful rhythms. And that's the kind of stuff I grew up with. No, the first thing I discovered was then AC/DC, Deep Purple, and the stuff the neighbour was listening to.
Oh.
So I wanted a denim jacket with Yamaha on it or Suzuki. And then I made this switch to like Yazoo, Depeche Mode, 80s electro pop. That was a huge influence on me. I mean, although I make kind of alternative singer-songwriter music and strange sound design and compositions, but also obviously I'm seeing all of that stuff through a filter of how I grew up and what I was informed with. And as I said, Music from the Body, fantastic seminal record of melancholy and absurdity. And then I think then my dad he worked with Pink Floyd on Atom Heart Mother, so I think he wrote half of the record. I hope so. I also very much admire what the Dutch people consider very claustrophobic and manicured in terms of order. I used this as a quote in my first short film, Elephant Feet, for which I received the Golden Calf in 2011, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's life on a knife edge, I guess, on the dike. And on the left you have water, and on the right you have a ditch. So you have to go straight ahead, or you're going to crash or drown.
Yeah. And all the trees are aligned. I also
I like that. I like the zorg. I also miss the right to roam, public footpaths in the UK, where suddenly there's a sign saying "private, keep out." There isn't this freedom that there was. And when I go back to the UK, I'm always amazed how much I don't know and how it's not familiar. And then when I come back to Holland, it's like, oh, fantastic, I'm back home. Certainly just learnt by doing. I had piano lessons. It was encouraged, but also because I came from a musical family. My mum was more interested in giving us the best of what was possible. My mum and dad knew a lot of filmmakers and other musicians, and my mum was making costumes for Doctor Who, which is BBC science fiction. My dad in the late 60s was asked to join the radiophonic workshop, I think, and with Dealid Derbyshire and the rest of it. But he also got involved in a lot of films as well, because people were friends. He was one of the first people to publish his own work, be a one-man band in that respect, and he also made music for films, probably to pay the rent or pay the mortgage. They're both the same thing. They're both, for me, about telling stories. I started making music by being a singer-songwriter, sitting behind the piano and making stories. But a piano you have to tune. And then I discovered harmoniums. And harmoniums you don't have to really tune. So you don't have to pay a piano tuner, and they're portable. I have a collection of 7 small harmoniums. They've been dragged through New York. They've been on sinking boats on the River Thames, main stage in the Paradiso, all over the place. I never wanted to be a bedroom musician. I didn't want to make excuses for what I make. I also wanted to be able to defend it in an honest way. And part of that is presenting it to a public in a very straightforward way, and not hiding behind the medium of an edited film or just the audio that's available in different formats. I guess conceptually I could have worked with that, but I also wanted to confront myself with the reality that other people get up on stage and do fantastic performances and they don't find it a problem, so why should I find it a problem?
Yeah.
But I always had that because I was ADHD and dyslexic at school, so it's to do with proving it to myself that I can do it, really.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget, there's more to watch.